A CMS Teacher of the Year has a story we want to share with you tonight. He works at Mallard Creek High School.
His approach to life and adversity is something we can all learn from. Our sports director Phil Orban is here to introduce us to a remarkable man. Phil?
Ben Berry has done it all. A stint in the Marines, a job at a phone company. There was his band in New York. He moved to Charlotte, a single dad of 4 girls. Since then, his family's grown to include an entire community.
You guys needed me to sign in those forms?
Ben Berry was an unlikely candidate for Mallard Creek Teacher of the Year, since he wasn't exactly prepared for the profession when he moved to Charlotte from New York.
I didn't have a teaching degree. They have this lateral entry program, so I kind of dove into it. It was a job. I was new to Charlotte.
He was working at Independence High School.
There's a lot of me that was always think I would go back to New York.
But that thinking changed when he met his wife and when his oldest daughter asked him to transfer to her school, Mallard Creek.
She was running cross country, and she said, "My coach is leaving, and I wish you were my coach." So, here I am. I got a teenage daughter who wants me around, and so I was like, I got to go.
He led Mallard Creek's wrestling program to its first state championship. And last week, one of his wrestlers, Jordan Norman, became just the 2nd individual state champ in school history. He also coached the cross-country team to its first conference championship.
I like to still think that I'm a teacher first, academics first, but there's a big part of, it's kind of like testing your limits. Testing your limits, your physical and mental limits is a big part of, I don't know, that, having a full life.
In short, Ben Berry is Mallard Creek.
That's the way I see myself, not as the most skilled teacher in the world, not as the most skilled coach in the world, but that I'm all in for my community.
And the community showed it was all in for him and his family when they needed it most. 2 years into his time at Mallard Creek, Ben Berry lost his youngest daughter, Elizabeth, to leukemia. She was just a freshman.
I really still, even 4 years later, I really don't know how to talk about it. I still have a lot of anger about the suffering you watch your child go through. It's one thing to lose your child, but I think the suffering piece was what is most devastating and most bitter, make you bitter.
And yet, when he could have quit, Berry pressed on. He and his wife threw themselves into the school and the wrestling team.
You never want to feel that I'm a better teacher or a better coach or a better dad or better anything because of that, But there's also that piece that you kind of go on, and I think that the kids that are seniors right now still were impacted by that event, and I think that it's made this program a little more special because of the fact that we all kind of survived that.
Graduation this year will be hard. Elizabeth should be getting her diploma. Her classmates, including the ones on the wrestling team, are planning their next steps. Berry wants to make sure Elizabeth's memory isn't left behind.
When you go through something tragic, which many people have, there's a balance between not wanting your daughter to be forgotten and not wanting to always be known as the guy who lost his daughter. That's hard.
Some memories do fade, and that's not all bad.
If you'd asked me this 2 or 3 years ago, I'd say all my memories are of the hospital. All of them are all of this time.
But the best memories remain. The wild-haired 8th grader, the long-distance runner who always ran a little too fast on the first lap, the boy-crazy teenager who stayed up too late on the phone. That's the Elizabeth who will live on in the memories of those who loved her. And for Berry, that's all he can ask for.
More than not, I have found myself in a situation where maybe you could be there for somebody who realizes that it could be worse. To appreciate everything, every moment, all of that.
What an inspiration. His life lesson, how he lived through that, is an education in and of itself to those kids.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And there are ways Mallard Creek has ensured Elizabeth Berry's memory will live on. They've named a wrestling tournament in her honor. The Female Booster Club's $1,500 college scholarship is named after Elizabeth, and she was a proud member of the junior ROTC program at the school. There's a memorial to her outside those offices at Mallard Creek.
Yeah, so you get choked up a little bit because we all have daughters,
and
we all have children.
I'm sure when you were talking to him, you put yourself in his position. What would it be like to lose a child? And
I have 4 daughters too. It's just it's tough.
Yeah, so it does. It resonates. Thanks, you, Phil.